Right, so fingers crossed, we're live. Everything's good to go. Obviously, we'll be talking about the result tonight. We've got Tone, John, and Mr. K. It's going to be a tough one, to be honest. I am absolutely seething. So, yeah, we'll get straight into it. We'll start with you, Tone. What did you make of the game? What's your first impressions? How are you feeling?
Just annoyed, angry. Mate, I'm so angry. I felt like shit all week. I've not been well. I thought, this game, everything to play for. We good result against Everton on Sunday, and we go to Galatasaray and we do so well, and we throw it away. We're the masters of our own downfall once again. I don't think Galatasaray played particularly well. Do I think we played particularly well in moments, but we weren't amazing. But yeah, the game we just bottled it. We simply bottled it. The game, just everything, and it just disappoints me now because Bayern will beat Copenhagen tonight, and we'll have this 2-week period of a what if scenario now. And yeah, 9 goals away, 1-0. Embarrassing. Yeah, exactly. Onana for me though tonight was the biggest culprit for the whole game, the biggest culprit of our downfall. I've been praising him quite a lot in the last few weeks. I think he's really stepped up his game, but tonight he didn't really show himself in glory, and ultimately goalkeeping mistakes cost us goals and cost you games. And I don't know how best to summarise it than that.
Yeah, no, spot on. I totally agree. It's a frustration for me because we sat on the show last time before the Everton game. We made our predictions. I said that I think it's a turning moment. We can move forward with a good result. We'll get a win. Are the players big enough to go to these stadiums? Because that atmosphere tonight was absolutely mad. Like any player going there, I mean, hats off to them. Absolutely amazing. But can they handle it? And honestly, 10 of them did. I thought 10 of the 10 of the 11 handled it really, really well. They was playing the way that we wanted. They was calm. Even I would say when we was 2-0 up, they was quite calm. Mistake. 3-1 up, they're quite calm. Mistake. And it knocks everybody. So we'll go to Mr. K. What about you? Do you think the team was lacking, or do you think it's literally just individual errors that are costing us again?
It's a combination of individual errors and lacking game management. I do agree. Onana was the biggest culprit now, but let's be clear. I don't like when it's like, well, we conceded 3 goals, it's only the goalkeeper's fault. Well, it wasn't just the goalkeeper's fault. Okay, the first free kick was a mistake, but sometimes the keeper is wrong footing, we were still ahead. The second one was just inexcusable. You should know what the conditions are. It's a soaking wet pitch, and if you do try to pat it down or whatever, there's always that risk it will go in. And I just think that was stupid bit of goalkeeping. I thought the first one at first was a deflection, but it turned out not to be the case. But I just think our in-game management has been lacking again. We have played well virtually all our Champions League games, but we've only got 1 win to show for it. And it's because, you look at the record, we've scored 3 in each of our away Champions League games, only picks up 1 point. And that says it all. So the problem isn't scoring goals, albeit I think we should have scored more tonight, arguably. With the chance we had at 3-3, we should have taken 1, maybe 2 of them. So for me, we've only got ourselves to blame. I do think, if you would take any positive, I think it demonstrates the team is starting to click. The Copenhagen, we know the Rashford red card had a massive impact on it, but we still conceded 4. But we had patterns play which were working. We had patterns play on Sunday at Everton where we're starting to click, and again tonight we look good going forwards. And I don't think, as Tony said, I don't think this Galatasaray team is anything special. I think we should have beaten them both times, and we ended up picking up 1 point. And I think it shows we can be a threat going forward, but perhaps the reality is we're just not ready for the Champions League, and maybe it's best served if, in the kindest possible way, maybe if Copenhagen were to go to Bayern and get a result tonight, it might be the best thing for us so that we can just concentrate on the league then, hopefully. But because we are in form in the league, it's bizarre, like us in Europe versus us in the Premier League. We're scrapping for results in the league, but getting the results, yet in Champions League we're playing well. All our games have been entertaining games to watch. If you're a neutral, all our games have been, you know, it's the one thing you want to watch is Man United because all our games are entertaining, but we're not winning any of them apart from one, which was 1-0, you know. But for me, it's in-game management, which has cost us. I thought we were solid for much of the game again, but, you know, a couple of lapses of concentration and, you know, it just cost us dearly. But, yeah, it's just another frustrating night.
Yeah, there's a definite frustration with what we've watched. I just can't. It's frustrating me because I felt that in the big moments of the game, Ten Hag was trying to make the right decisions from off the bench. So, like when we got to 3-1 and he brought Minor on, it was obviously get a little bit of control, get the ball down, play the ball, sort of stuff, and then individual error, mistake, just something to knock the flow of the game completely. I mean, it's inexcusable to be. John, will come to you. It's completely inexcusable to be 2-0 up, 3-1 up, and not win this game of football. I personally didn't think Galatasaray was that good. What did you make of the game, John?
Yeah, just unbelievable, really, how so chaotic all these Champions League games have been. You know, like you say, we looked like fantastic first, 20 minutes, like we had in Copenhagen. You think we've, turned the corner, and then there's another error, and we sort of lose a bit of concentration, and it all goes to pieces. And then, you think we get 3-1 up and think, right, now that's it. Now surely we're going to just see this out. But again, another goalkeeping howler, and then before you know it, it's back to 3-3, and we still had, there was still plenty of chances, after it went to 3-3, which unfortunately we couldn't take. So, after all this, we sat there bottom of the group.
Yeah, I'm so frustrated. It's beyond words at this point. We'll come to the third goal as well, John, and I'll get your opinion on that. Do you think? I mean, me personally, I think he's not in the correct position, and he shouldn't be getting beat at his near post like that. You can't take anything away from the finish. An absolutely mental finish from there. The turn, the touch, the finish was fantastic from the Turk. I can't say his name. But do you think there's any issues with Onana on the third goal as well?
Well, I suppose you could probably argue he was perhaps a bit too far off his line. You could perhaps argue, and probably should have been covering his near post a bit more. Certainly was. He was obviously wasn't. I don't think anybody was anticipating into it first time like he did. So he was obviously not prepared for that. And like you say, he shouldn't from that distance be getting beaten at his near post. No way.
Yeah. So we'll go back to the start. Obviously, it was so positive. The first goal right off the bat, really quickly, Tone. Like I was absolutely buzzing. I was like, this could not go this well. And I mean, Garnacho again. What?
Honestly, the first 20 minutes was some of the best football we've played all season. We played Galatasaray off the park, and I thought, this could be a question of how many we could win by. And Garnacho tucking it past a really good goalkeeper in Muslera. And then Bruno Fernandes with an absolute wildy top bins. You know what I mean? You can't write away days better than that. And honestly, it just seemed that the free kick we conceded for the first goal just capitulated the whole performance. It kind of got a little bit sloppy after that. But the first, you can't take away. The goals we scored tonight were absolutely immense, to be fair. There's a second goal by Bruno as well. We've had a couple of wildies in the last few days. Obviously not as good as Garnacho's on Sunday, but still,
we'll be
at
talking
least
about
they're
that
not
later.
basic pack-ins. And it were an exciting game, to be fair. Like it was really exciting.
Yeah, I was frustrated. It like as a neutral, I bet that game was absolutely cracking to watch. But being a Man United fan, it's so annoying because I don't overly think Galatasaray did loads. Like
No,
they didn't some, but we created so many clear-cut chances during that game. And I was saying just backstage, and Mr. K can come in on this one, that the chances that we made, the frustrating thing for me was we was either underplaying it or overplaying it. There's times where we just got a 4-yard pass to make and they're not making it, or they're shooting, and it's frustrating because again, I said on the show at the weekend that if this can click, we're gonna put 6 or 7 past the team. And tonight is one of them times where at 2-0 we could have scored a third. At 3-1 we could have scored a fourth and a fifth. Even at 3-3, there's a chance as we could get it to 6-3. We just not clinical enough in the final, even though we have been in the last 2 games. Do you think we need to be better in the final third?
100%. That's where we keep getting killed in the final third. Our in-game management, like John said, is woeful. Like we don't know. There's certain periods of the game where, like, even the commentators were saying, United just need to slow it down, play it in Galatasaray's half. We're just inviting the game to Galatasaray, and Galatasaray, like, we're so easy to cut open if you cut inside us and you overlap, and that's what they did. That's all they did to us, and they got to, like, there wasn't anything special. They didn't play like prime Barcelona. They just did basic stuff, very simple things, and they did it well, and they got their just desserts for it. And I can blame Onana all night, but the fact is we've invited them into those positions to let them have those chances, and we shouldn't be doing that in a game away from home, and we should be controlling the tempo and key possession. We just don't do that for 90 minutes. I think even against Everton on Sunday, 3-0 win. Can you say that was a dictative 3-0 win? Because Everton had chances, Everton controlled parts of the game, and it was, it's the story of our season. Brilliant in flashes, really good in flashes, and then woeful in others.
Yeah, Mr. Commode, over to you. What do you think needs to change then to be better in these areas? Like, I mean, we'll talk about the Everton performance after we've picked the bones out of this one. For me, it's frustrating because it really genuinely looks like Ten Hag's telling them to do one thing. Like, I think the Mainu substitution was a sign for them to calm it down, keep the ball. We don't need to be bombing forward or whatever. What do you think needs to change in the players' heads, or do you think it's just a case of we're going to need some more experienced professionals in to fix this issue because they're showing a weakness, a naivety?
I think it's a mentality thing more than anything. Where I know you said, it's a fiery atmosphere. I don't think it was the atmosphere that got them back in the game. We were managing that, and I just think that it was, I don't know, it's a lack of concentration. I mean, we can say for the third goal, you shouldn't be beat on his near post, but why did you allow him to get into a position where he could shoot in the first place? That's the way I look at it, and I just think that at times on midfield can be. Whether it be Amrabat, McTominay, we don't always track our runners. And this is a problem. Like, it puts pressure on the defence and it's costing us dearly. And I don't think anyone, I think ultimately it's a lack of concentration. And you might need to change players, but I think it all comes from the whole club. And I think the whole situation above the head, there's a lack of confidence going through the club at this moment, the uncertainty until we get clarity on that, things won't improve. But for me, there has been some improvement. We do look good going forwards, and I do agree, we scored 3 in the last 2 games. Well, we scored 3 in the last 4 games. Only Luton, which we won 1-0, but 3 in Copenhagen, 3 Everton, 3 at Galatasaray. And we deserved those 3 goals in those games, and we perhaps should have scored more in them. And for me, I just think it just comes down to, it can't be down to the manager. Yes, he makes changes, and Mainu, we'll discuss him. He's, if they're good enough, they're old enough, but he's the only midfielder at the moment who's shown any kind of maturity, and he's the youngest in there. I don't think anybody else like McTominay is not one to take control of the game. Sometimes when it's at 3-2, you just need to get hold of the ball and just pass it around for 5 minutes, quieten the crowd. But we're just not capable. It's just constant attack, and we are a threat when we go forwards, no question. But we got a tough game coming up on Saturday, and in the league we have demonstrated that we can grind out results, but you got to be better in Europe, and otherwise you're just not going to have a chance at all. And but this has been a problem for us for years. I think since Fergie retired, we've only got out the group stage of the Champions League twice, I think, or 3 or 4 times. Sorry, 4 times, and we've only won 2 knockout games in that time. And I just think that away in Europe, there's just something not right about the team. I don't know what it is, but we need to get better at it. But, I'd rather have a game where we win 2-1 away from home, creating 5 chances, but defending solid, than creating 20 chances, scoring 3. But at the other end, we concede 3 as well. You can't be doing that. You're not going to win. If you play so open in Europe, you're not going to win many games. You have to be solid. You really do. And I don't know. It's a mentality thing, and that's all I can say about it.
So, John, what do you think? Do you think there was an argument that he should have maybe left Amrabat on and brought on Mino as well to shore up the midfield? How would you have gone about it? Because realistically, there's no, even with the error from the goalkeeper, I think we would call it nitpicky for blaming him for the 3rd goal. But the 2nd goal in particular, he's at fault. But even with that, we shouldn't be losing that game from 3-1. There should be enough about Manchester United to keep that lead. What do you think he could have done differently?
Like you say, whether taking Amrabat off might have been, in hindsight, probably maybe not the wisest thing to do. I mean, I thought Mainu did pretty well when he came on, to be fair.
He was so calm.
Just need that calming sort of head that keeps us that keeps things calm. Once we got in a position, like tonight when we were 3-1 up, and there's sort of 55 minutes on the clock. You just say, right, let's just keep the ball, keep the crowd quiet, and just see the game out. But like I say, they just seem to have this thing where we want to just carry on attacking, and we're sort of leaving ourselves exposed, giving away silly free kicks on the counter that have led to 2 of the goals tonight. So yeah, whether we need to probably make a few more, a bit more wiser substitutions, something maybe a bit more defensive, just to give us that stability. Because we've, like tonight in the Copenhagen game, we've conceded late on in both of those, and the same as in the home game against Galatasaray. We've conceded a lot of goals late on, which is obviously led to us to be in the position that we're in now.
It's an interesting one for me, because we see him say the defense has been unsteady, so the midfield can't settle, so it's hard to progress forward and stuff like that. But our best performances again this season have come where we've had a smaller percentage of, not necessarily in the other team, but a smaller percentage of possession than you would expect, and we're playing on the break. Today, for me, if you take away 2 of the mistakes of the goalkeeper, which it's a very clinical away performance that we've put on. We've hit him on the break. In fact, we've got 2 up. We've done well. We've then got ahead again. We've done everything right. We just don't seem to be able to, when it really comes to digging in, manage the game. And it's so frustrating. I genuinely thought that the Everton game was going to be a little bit of a kick on for us. Don't get me wrong, going Galatasaray away, and I think any away game in Europe is much more difficult than people will ever give credit for. Like, proper teams go away and struggle, like, and we're doing it as well. I'm just looking at some of the stats. So they had 58% possession to our 42, 16 shots, 8 of those on target. We had 17 shots, 4 on target. So in terms of being clinical, we've hit the target 4 times and we've scored 3. So, like, I genuinely,
and
in my head,
the one that was on target that we missed was Palestri.
from
and it were like a good save by
he should have buried that.
He should have pinned it, man.
I noticed something in that little passage you're playing. It's just me being pedantic. The defender passes the ball back to the goalkeeper. So it's in the 6-yard box and he kicks it to the goalkeeper on purpose. And it should be a pass back all day long. And I'm screaming at my TV like, that is a pass back. He literally just, it's an absolute mess. And he just taps it back to him. Keep it up.
They never give those. They never give those. And I call for them all the time because in Sunday League football,
there's VAR when you need
it. They give them in Sunday League football. They just don't in professional. It's like foul throws. How many foul throws do you see in the professional game? And you go, man, I played out for the dog and duck, and that gets given. And you know, I love you, Finn.
So Box is making a point here. Does he need dropping?
Yeah, he does. He needs out the firing line. No. It's not the fact. I think Onana is obviously better than Binder. Like, obviously, we know that. Everyone knows that. There's a reason why he's 50 million quid. But at a certain point in time, you got to look at the rest of the squad. You're going, you're rewarding failure. You know what I mean? At a club like Man United, Box says, you know, consequences are needed for bad performances. And I know people go, yeah, but goalkeepers are different. They're confidence players. But Biendir's been looking good. We keep hearing De Gea. Come on, man. De Gea's not coming back. He's not coming back. But
interesting stat for you, though, Tone. Onana has made more mistakes in Europe than any other goalkeeper since 2018.
Doesn't surprise me.
7.
Mate, I wrote an article about 9 months ago about goalkeepers that come to United. My top 5, he wasn't even in my top 5. There was frailties to his game. Yeah, he can kick a ball, but ultimately, in my head, I think what a goalkeeper should do is stop the ball going in the back of the net as best they can. And unfortunately, Onana has so many lapses in concentration. Connor was absolutely right as well. The amount of saves he makes 10 times more difficult for himself when he palms it back into the mixer. He does it all the time. Like I've not seen even saves that are straight at him. You're worried that it's going to squirm away from him because he just palms it. He lets it palm and then grasps it a second time. And you think to yourself, against someone potent, they can call you on that. And
he did it a couple of times after the mistake, didn't he?
I
noticed it.
And don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, you're hating on Onana. You know, you're not a real United fan for saying this." It's just like, look, if it was Schmeichel making his errors or Van der Sar, I'd still be saying, look, they're bad errors for a professional goalkeeper or someone who's meant to be a world-class goalkeeper. And you know,
we don't like the word world class.
Yeah, he's not world class. He's not world class. He had a very good season for Inter Milan last season. Ten Hag likes him. He isn't going to get dropped on Saturday, so you know. It doesn't matter what I think anyway.
Well,
but I think
what about you?
Have a chance,
Mr. Commode. Would you drop him? Would you stick by him?
Well, I'll give you another stat. Onana has the joint most clean sheets in the Premier League.
Right, yeah, but that's not Europe.
Yeah. Well, it's a Premier League game, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a good point. We're going to be out of Europe now.
I do. Yeah, drop him for Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
But no, I don't.
You watching that game, John? Binder turns into the reincarnation of
Michael
in that game.
Well, there were rumours that he would start in the reverse fixture against Galatasaray, and I think if he had started one or both of the games, we would be through by now, probably. No, I just think that I think the problem is with Onana, like maybe a month or 2 ago, you probably would have dropped him, and he has made errors in Europe this season. But the thing is, he has been doing well recently up until this game today, so he's going to stick with him. And, you know, I would have dropped him previously, yeah. And I will probably let Bayern have a game, against Bayern Munich. That because if he's going to go to the AFCON, then he should get some game time, I think. But I think we have kept 3 clean sheets in a row in the league, I think. So, we're not doing too badly in the league. So I think that I would stick with him. His unusual style is saving, but, I get people saying that you should drop him because of consequences and all that. But, I don't like it when it's it's only his fault why we didn't win. Say it isn't just his fault. That's what I'm getting to the point that, yes, the second goal was poor, but didn't Martial duck his head? Could Martial bedded the ball away before he even got to him, possibly? So
I think what the argument is, though, John, is it's not the fact we're saying that, because we're not saying Onana's at fault. Like, there was players that made silly mistakes, like Bruno shouldn't have given away the free kick in a dangerous area. You shouldn't.
But
you
I
know
agree.
what I mean?
I get the point that he has cost us in Europe massively, and I do understand people's point of view. But the fact is, it's not going to happen. And I don't think it is right, because in the league, I just don't get the difference between our team in the league and our team in Europe. We're so open in Europe, and yet in the Premier League, we don't play great, but we grind out results, which I don't get it, to be honest. And, he will start on Saturday, and, hopefully we'll pick up another positive result. We need to start getting results at these places. We did at Everton, and we need to get another result at Newcastle. Even if we get a draw on Saturday, it's not the worst result, So I do think he will stick by. He has looked more solid in recent games up until tonight. But I called for De Gea. I love De Gea, but I think it was time for him to go. And you just got to let Onana. I don't think I get dropping people leads to consequence. You need consequence for your actions. However, you got time. De Gea made so many errors early on, and he turned out to be a good goalkeeper. So you just got to allow people time to bed in, and I think stick with him. And I think in time it will improve. I think it is improving, but I get why some people think it might not work.
So John, I'll throw you a question. With the fact that he could possibly be leaving for a month, do you think there is an argument to throw Bayindir in now and bed him in and instead of just throwing him in when you need him and say, look, we're gonna need you for this month he's away. Let's give him another 2 games to bed in instead of just chucking him in at the deep end. Like, I don't know when it starts, but we've got obviously
January. We've got the FA Cup.
We've got a trip to Anfield to navigate, and I'll be very nervous going to Anfield with a goalkeeper that's prone to making mistakes.
I think he doesn't. He seems to be in like big atmospheres. It seems like he gets to his head a little bit. Like his confidence goes up in a game like where he's got the control. You see a completely different goalkeeper. Onana's so calm and collected. And in games like this, like tonight, I feel like the event got to him a little bit. But going back to your point about De Gea was dropped for like 10 games for Lindegaard in that season.
Yeah, the season we won the league.
It was the making of him, because he came back and got his chance and he killed it. He started becoming a lot better. But
so what do you think, John? Would you be tempted?
I would be tempted to, yes, give Bayindir a few games before Onana goes to the AFCON. Like I say, whether like such as Saturday when we're Newcastle away, when they're going to be fired up after their game last night, it's maybe not perhaps the best timing. Maybe for when we've got a few home games, like we've got Chelsea and Bournemouth coming up before the final Champions League game.
I think maybe chuck him in for the Champions League and an FA Cup game.
Maybe so, but yeah, I'd certainly I'd like to see him get a chance, and I'd like to think hopefully he might get the opportunity in a few of the games in next month.
Well, it's a strange one for me because by all accounts, this Bayern is very highly rated in and around Carrington, and it's apparently doing all the right things. So the leaks are saying. Just a quick one before we move on. Arsenal are already 4-0 up after half an hour.
I just saw my phone. My mate just texted me saying 4-0 Arsenal.
Absolute madness. And Bayern Munich have just had a shot cleared off the line. So I can sort of see both. So yeah, I just find it really interesting. I think he'll stick with him. I think John's ultimately, Mr. K is ultimately right in terms of he's playing well in the league. There's none of this is happening in the league with the team in general. We seem to be doing a lot better. I had said on the last show that I felt we'd done enough over the last 5 games to look like we was improving. I still think we look like we're improving now. Newcastle's going to be a massive game, to be fair. What was you going to say, Joe?
I was saying the point that was made about it, which only made about him in the atmosphere, it tends to get the bigger of him, but that's the same with the whole team, unfortunately. So, it's a problem that goes throughout the team, and I just think that it's got. I mean, clearly, Ten Hag would have brought Onana in because he is a big personality, and I think that Onana at this moment reminds me a lot when we had Bartes, if we remember the Maverick. But he just needs to settle, and he'll know himself these errors, these costing him. We did the intro off the Bayern Munich game, but he can't keep doing. He must think to himself why do you keep making these errors, And, I thought I was beginning to turn like Everton. We got a penalty today. Somebody didn't get a handball against him. It's like maybe our luck is changing. Then Onana just parries one in, doesn't he? But I just think as a team, we've got to be stronger. And, this game on Saturday is massive. And we need to go there and show we are capable of winning there. And I do think we're not far away from winning a big game like that. We lost by a goal in Bayern Munich. We were close at Arsenal. With
to jump in, John, I think
you're talking inches away from
the Arsenal game was our best performance this season. It sounds weird to say it, but it was one of our best performances this season.
It was
to the Garnacho goal,
yeah.
And then once that was disallowed, we forget that we played well. We controlled the game for large periods.
The irony is, a lot of the games we've lost have been some of our best performances, but it's just that we're just not
keep losing.
We're just losing concentration. I don't know if you can teach about it. It's just something you do as professionals. You play so open. I think it's the lack of leaders on the pitch. As when we touched upon this, just shut up shop. It's just like when you're 3-2 up, just 5-10 minutes, keep the ball, rotate the ball. You don't need to keep going forwards all the time. Just have 10 minutes where you keep. Well, you might have a chance or two, but quieten the crowd, and then maybe you might get a fourth. Then you don't need to go gung-ho all the time. Just manage it better. And we're not far away from getting. I don't think Ten Hag has won a big away game yet. We come close in certain games, but I think we're not actually that far away from winning a big away game. I think it'll come. We got Newcastle, we've got Liverpool. Ideally, it might be hopefully one of those two, but we'll see, won't we?
I'm sorry, John. Finn's corpsed me with that comment.
Absolutely not, Finn.
He's corpsed me with that one.
What did he say? I didn't see that.
I'd read it. It's on the comments, but he's corpsed me with it.
He's not going on the screen.
He's got me with that one. But yeah, leaders on the team. We don't have enough leaders. Like Bruno.
I'm gonna take a look at this comment.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything in the thing about Bruno giving the fouls away? Do you think that there is some blame for that? Do you think he should
Yeah, he's an
be a
idiot.
bit wiser? Yeah.
Yeah, he should have. You know, you can't just keep these niggling fouls away. You know,
The second one was infuriating.
It was, and you know, and he was on a yellow as well. You know, another one of them you might get a red card. It's just so silly. And yeah, you can blame Onana, but they're free kicks in the position where you can potentially concede a goal. You know, when you don't need to get if a player's going clean through, then by all means take them out. But if you're gonna, he was going nowhere, and it was just a silly. He was looking for contact. He went down, and now the rest is history, isn't it?
So I've left this comment up for a reason, because it's something I wanted to touch on, and it's reminded me. So this is something that I've seen everywhere in terms of Varane being dropped. Now, I personally think Varane's been bang out of form, so should be dropped, just like Maguire was, just like other players have been. I want to ask John this one, because I'm starting to get frustrated with, apparently Maguire can't play on the left side of defence, which we know is absolute bollocks, because he did it for 2 years and he was very, very, very good at it. Do you think Ten Hag needs to sort of admit we haven't got the players to have a player that's good with his left foot on the left side, and just put Maguire there and pair him with Varane? Whether he likes it or not, there's got to be a little bit of a... He's got to change his ways a bit, because he keeps putting Maguire on the right. And I personally think Maguire's been playing really well this season. But he keeps making, in essence, the same mistake. Lindelof's been poor. I would go to Maguire, Varane. So do you think he's just bringing heat his own way by keeping this attitude of there must be someone that can play off the left foot on the left side?
Yeah. I mean, like you say, Varane's form has dipped quite significantly this year. I think Maguire's, obviously, as everybody can sort of see, he's improved immensely since he's come back into the team. But I suppose I've not been too disappointed with Lindelof, really. But I don't know. I don't know whether I'd put Varane back in. Personally, I think I'd leave Lindelof and Maguire in. I can see why you might perhaps think, Varane and Maguire might work better. I don't suppose those two haven't really played much together, but I certainly think Varane seems to be very suspect this year, and there's obviously seems like there's something gone off behind the scenes with him and Ten Hag, which is why he seems to be on the bench. He doesn't even seem to ever hardly bring him off the bench at all, either late on in the game or anything like that. So I think it'll be Maguire and Lindelof for the foreseeable, certainly until Martinez, whenever he gets back.
I think it's Jan, to answer the question. I think it's late January, from what I was reading. I just find it interesting, because I genuinely think that you'll see Luke Shaw drop to left centre back and Reguilon play at left back, or Reguilon, before we see Maguire back at left centre back. And I just find it a really strange one, because he can definitely play there. He's done it before. So go on then, Tone. Who was your standout performer today? I mean, I'm trying to take away some of the negatives, to be honest, because if we would have said before this game, it'd be end-to-end, it'd be a cracking game, it finishes 3-3, most people would have took it, because I wasn't even expecting us to win, or even get a point. So after watching it, it's frustrating. But who was your standout performer?
Onana. No, sorry. You know who I'm going to give it to? Anthony. Anthony was brilliant. Anthony was really good tonight. Like, that was the best I've seen him all this for about 6 months. He looked like someone who was hungry, like he wanted to play, like he was proving.
I feel like he looked a little bit quicker.
He looked quicker. And you know what? He was tracking back as well. Him and Wan-Bissaka have a really good partnership on the right side. And I think we should build upon that, because I think another thing as well to add is when Dallow's on the pitch, Wan-Bissaka doesn't know. Like, Dallow's defending for a right back is atrocious. Like, he's a very good crosser of the ball and he can pass the ball, but that's all he can do. He's more of a right midfielder than he kind of is like a B-rate Trent in a lot of ways, Dallow. But
It's going to sound weird, but he's better suited to the inverted right back than he is a right back because he can pass all right and everything else, but he's not as good at, like you saw Zaha got so much space when Dalot came on in comparison to Wan-Bissaka.
But for me, Anthony was
Finn is on fire, by the way.
Sorry?
Finn is on fire in the
I'm not reading his comments anymore because I keep talking.
No more Finn.
I've come off the chat because I'm going to start giggling too much.
So we got a question here from SPK. Do we think if we don't finish in the top 5, is F's job in danger at the end of the season? I would say no. I think he's absolutely safe. I think we've had this discussion before on the show, John and Mr. K, where
I think
you have to either accept that you back him and that comes with a 6th place finish and he gets backed again in the summer, etc., or you turn against him.
My personal view would be it might be down to Ineos. So, because eventually they will get the sporting control and, like others, Paul Mitchell will come in, a few others, a lot towards summer. So I think it might, so you can't say for definite because they'll want to introduce system and it might be that Ten Hag doesn't quite suit system. I think, as always, where you finish in the league is important. If we go out in Europe, I do personally think we'll get top 4 because then we're in a good spell in the league. And, I think if we do go out of Europe completely, then I would have thought that we'll probably get there because it seems to be that every team seems to be dropping points at the moment. So apart from us, ironically. So, I think it's but yeah, I think it much depends on Ineos and the vision they have and then make a decision that way.
What about you, John? Do you think if I said to you now we finish 6th, we're out the Champions League, we're out the League Cup, we don't win the FA Cup, do you think Ten Hag could be in trouble?
I think so, yeah. I think there'd be some serious questions asked, considering where we were last season. It's going to be very, very difficult to finish top 4, I think, with the likes of how Villa have improved, Liverpool are back to sort of where they were before last year. Spurs have obviously improved, although they're sort of crumbling a bit now. So, but anyway, I think I think there could be with the changes that's happening around the club, and if we're sort of struggling to make top 4, doesn't look like there's any sign of trophy happening either, unless we get a fortunate draw, drawn at home every round again, and championship opposition till the latter stages. Maybe we could make the final again. But I think we're going to have to see a big improvement if Ten Hag's going to be around next season, I think.
Do you not find that frustrating? I mean, I agree with everybody's points. Do you not think it's frustrating though that, let's be honest, if we sacked him, we're just going to go around in circles again? We're just going to bring in whoever, and then the same's going to happen in 12 months. I think there has to be a realism that this club is not where it was a decade ago, or even 7 years ago, in terms of.
Oh, I didn't know that, Dan.
No, but the ability to win stuff's gone. There's no right to win anything, is there? But if we keep sacking the managers that we should be winning stuff, it's never going to happen. Well, like the room is Ancelotti. What's Ancelotti going to do with this bunch of players?
Ancelotti's not leaving Real Madrid to come to us unless he gets a boatload of money sent to his front door.
Shares in the club, probably.
Yeah, like Ten Hag, unless it goes horribly wrong and like it capitulates massively. I can see us doing what Liverpool did with Klopp. Like people need to remember, like Klopp and Arteta didn't come to both teams to become successes overnight. There was trials and tribulations to implement their vision of the club, and I do think ultimately, I have to have faith that Ten Hag's going to put that that kind of impetus on the club, his vision on the club, and it's just going to take time. Like Mainu, next season, Mainu will be starting for Man United every single week. I have no doubts about it. He's that good.
I think it might even be sooner than that.
Well, it might be. It's just happenstance and things like that. But Varane, I don't think will be at the club after January. I think he's going Saudi Arabia. I'm pretty confident.
Do you think Casemiro will go?
Yeah, if someone offered me 40 million for Casemiro, I'd take it and just get.
I think Varane and Casemiro will go to Saudi. It's just a question whether it's January or the summer. I think.
And it's not a knock on Casemiro and Varane because they were both really good at some points for United. I just think you can't build a team that's going to compete for a Premier League or is going to try and compete for a Premier League with 30-year-old has-beens from Real Madrid, that aren't fit anymore, that can't stay fit anymore, have lost a step in pace, are constantly injured. You see what I mean? Or like with Casemiro last season, can't get suspended 4 times in a season.
Honestly, the Casemiro one is baffling to me because without Casemiro last season, we don't finish top 4.
No, of course we don't.
Yeah. And now it's like he's a completely different player.
Imagine if we did keep Casemiro in January and him and Mainu in the midfield. That'd be
sick.
That would be ideal.
Well, I think. Just if it was Casemiro from last season with Mainu from this season together this season,
hopefully it'd be a bit calm.
Yeah, it'd be a bit calmer. But I thought, I think in January will be the most exciting transfer window we've had in a while. If Ineos come in, which I highly doubt.
Arsenal are now winning 5-0.
It's against Lens, though, isn't it?
Well,
why can't we just have a 5-0?
When France 7-0 up half time the other week.
Yeah, a man sent off as well.
Mm.
Yeah, so we'll move on from the Champions League game. A quick question before we move on. We asked it the other week. I'm assuming this is going to be a unanimous decision. Qualify for the Europa or go out? What do you think?
Go out.
John?
Go out.
I think we'll end up in Europa.
Do you want the Europa or do you think we'll end up in it?
I think nobody really wants it, I suppose, because we want to be in the Champions League knockouts, don't we? But
I suppose the only argument for staying in Europe is financial.
See, I made the argument that the coefficient might matter.
Yeah.
The more coefficient points we get, the 5th place might get Champions League this season. So there is maybe a reason to drop into it. I absolutely berated Dan last year for suggesting that we should go out of a cup and concentrate on another one. But that's exactly where I'm at. I would much prefer to go out bottom and have a good run at the Premier League and the FA Cup than more Thursday Sundays. It's not for me.
We haven't got the squad to do it either. Like, you got to bear in mind as well, when you go to Europa League, you can go to some really far out places. You can end up in Azerbaijan for a week.
And this is what I mean. Like, ironically, we found ourselves in a fairly decent position in the league after, this is obviously a big month, and you got Newcastle, Chelsea, and Liverpool coming up. But if we were to go out of Europe and we're within a few points of the top come New Year and you're out of Europe, you could probably manage that. This is the irony of it all. But
do you think he needs sort of a Postecoglou sort of job where he's got 6 days on the training pitch before the next game each time?
Yeah, because I think we've got the squad who can beat anyone on their day. But the problem is game after game after game. And I think it's a combination of the World Cup last year, playing so many games last season, the mad pre-season that we had, plus, players maybe they've been overtrained or whatever. It's a combination of things. So that's why it might be better if we have most 3 weeks from January to May, maybe concentrate on an FA Cup run. I think the squad is capable of focus on 2 competitions, but not 3 or 4.
Yeah, so we'll move on to the Everton game, which is a much lighter topic. We'll start with you, John. Have you ever seen a better goal?
Probably not. No, I was there for Rooney's overhead kick at Old Trafford, and I didn't think then I'd probably ever see a better goal than that. But I think that was certainly equal, if not maybe slightly better in terms of the skill of it. I wasn't even sure at first. I wasn't quite sure who it was when when he went up kick it. I thought, crikey, who's that trying to score the overhead kick? But yeah, absolutely sensational. And to happen, you'd normally think something like that tends to happen sort of fairly, later on in a game, but to happen in like the 3rd minute of the game as well, just incredible.
It was absolutely mental when he went when the ball. By the way, the ball, crap. It was such a bad pass. When he went up, I'm in my head. I'm like, what are you doing? And then before you know it, good old T-Rex arms ain't getting anywhere near it. Absolute fantastic goal. What about you, John? Have you seen a better goal than that, or is that right up there for you?
Oh yeah, loads. He shinned it. Yeah, it's. I mean, is it our best ever Premier League goal? It has to be right up there. I think there's 2 or 3 where you might be on that level. Obviously, the Rooney overhead kick, Van Persie's against Villa, maybe, and David Beckham's at Wimbledon.
I've got a soft spot for Berbatov's against Liverpool. The chest.
Yeah. That's. I mean, there's been loads of goals. Van Nistelrooy against Fulham and that kind of thing. But is it the best one I've seen? Premier League wise, yes, I think it probably is the best one we've scored. The best one we've ever scored. I mean, I look back to the Ryan Giggs one against Arsenal in the semi-final. I think
10
minutes. I don't know. They're 2 different goals, but I think the opposition who it was against and what it led to, I'd probably still give Ryan Giggs the edge. But I mean, that was. I mean, I actually missed it because I was at church. I was trying to race back in time. And literally, I have the app on my phone and I see Everton 0, Manchester United 1. And I was like, oh, of course I missed an early goal. And then when I turned it on after 5 minutes, saw a replay of it, oh, of course I had to miss that goal, didn't I? It's not just any goal, is it? But, how he's done it, I just don't know. I don't think even he knows. But it's ironic because I was listening to Talk of the Devils podcast. Apparently they were practicing shooting in training the day before, and Benny McCarthy was effing and jeffing at Garnacho because he wasn't heading the ball. He kept trying these overhead kicks and all that, and he was getting really mad with him. And now all of a sudden he's like, well, if he hadn't practiced it might not have come off, So I think it's goal of the season, it's goal of the century in my view. And I don't think I've seen us score a better goal.
What about you, Tone? Where's it for you?
It's in the top 5.
It's in the top 5.
It's in the top 5. I still love Rooney's goal because it was against City.
It's the importance of Rooney's,
and it's and I know Garnacho's technically is a better goal in terms of what he's had to do to get to that ball and the top bins of it all, and the fact that T-Rex arms actually tried to save it, it makes it even better. Yeah, like it. But for me, my favourite ever goal is Cristiano's free kick against Portsmouth, the one where it just flew in top bins. Like you couldn't. The amount of times like that revolutionised like kids at school, my generation in the playground kicking a ball to trying to do the Ronaldo, hit
the valve.
What do they call it now? It was just ridiculous. And to be fair to it, but from a technical standpoint, Garnacho's goal will win goal of the season. Yeah, exactly.
I messaged my brother straight away because obviously he's not watching the Man United games, Liverpool fan. I messaged saying, goal of the season's done, it's finished. And he messaged me back saying, oh, go on then, tell me. And I'm like, what, 15, 16-yard overhead kick? It's over. And then he messaged me back to say, wow. I was like, honestly, I couldn't believe it when he did it. Obviously, to the game, it was perfect for us, I thought. We needed the early goal. We then, I would say we struggled for a bit. But we got through it. We did really well. We defended well. We defended as a unit. We got through the tough bit. We controlled the game, and then we got a second, and we got a third. I thought the performance against Everton was really, really good. I really thought we'd kick on.
Who predicted it, Dan?
I don't know. Maybe there was a tweet about it. I can't remember. It was me. Perfectly. Literally, by the way, to the word, I said we'd get an early goal, we'd get into the game, and then we'd kill it when we need to kill it.
Did you say he'd be the first goal scorer?
No, I should have said that, shouldn't I? I wouldn't have gone for Garnacho, to be fair. But John, we've got to be happy with Martial scoring as well. That's always a good thing. What did you make of the overall performance against Everton? Did you think it was a step in the right direction for us?
I think we were, a lot better than we have been, in the last few away games in the league. They're certainly scoring that goal so early on. That obviously quietened the crowd down tremendously, because obviously they were up for it with what they've been going through. With
they were a pin drop after that goal,
point deduction, etc. I thought Everton had quite a few decent chances in the first half, which they might have done better with, but certainly second half we seemed to keep the ball very well, creating a few more opportunities, and it was, like I say, it was good to see Martial get involved with the other two goals, which he's not been doing much at all recently. So it was a nice end to the game.
Do you know what? That's what I've enjoyed the most about the last two games. It's where Bruno's been playing, because he's been back where he should be, and he's created absolutely loads of chances again. I know he's not the perfect player, but this was one of the things that I was saying last week in terms of the team. It's so frustrating that we're having to rely on, well, if Rashford don't start scoring, we're going to have a tough season. If Fernandez isn't on top form, we're going to have a tough season. We need more players to start digging in for us and making the difference. Was it all of the front three scored against Everton as well, which was perfect? Obviously,
we
giving him the
finally had a
penalty.
striker score in the Premier League.
Yeah. Where do we go from here? Do you see any big changes for the Newcastle game?
Well, Rashford will come back in, won't he? And will he start May? I think he probably will. And,
do you think Rashford definitely comes back in?
Yeah.
What, even though Garnacho's on form and Anthony played well?
Yeah, because I think this week's rest will hopefully do him good. So
I do think I backed Rashford in the last show massively, and I'll back him. I still maintain he's had three good seasons in the last four, if you don't include this one. There's surely got to be a conversation about his form soon. I know he scored the penalty the other day, but he looked off it again. He didn't look confident. He looked struggling. Do you think maybe we're getting, let's say he starts against Newcastle, hypothetically, doesn't perform well? Do you think we're getting into territory where he might need dropping for a bit?
Yeah, quite possibly. But that's obviously down to now, because I think the reason why Bruno gave his penalty to Rashford,
Confidence.
because I think we need an informed Rashford, because who else is going to get the goals? You know, and that's the big conundrum that we have. And I think that, Rashford in form will greatly assist United. And, I do think that. And I think after he scored the penalty, he did start to look a bit better. I think he moved to the left when Garnacho went off, and I think he did look more of a threat. But I agree his general performance wasn't great. And I think that there's a garbage discussion about, and there has been, about whether he should start in the last few months. But hopefully now he can kick on, and I do think he will start against Newcastle, and then we've got Chelsea, haven't we? Which he does like all against Chelsea, doesn't he? So, but I do
Martial against Everton, loves the goal.
Yeah. Well, did you see that stat? Martial's our all-time goal scorer against Everton with 9 goals.
Yeah,
Really?
Wow,
he's right.
Yeah, he's beaten Dennis Law with 8.
Wow.
And
It's something like 9 in 16, isn't it?
Yeah, and and it is remarkable. And I must say that there was that XG. I never know how they do this. Obviously, you're the expert, Dan. But that Garnacho goal, I forgot to add, 0.08% chance of scoring. So for every 100 times he tries it, he'll score 8 of them.
No. They got it wrong. She said
Yeah.
that on the telly, and if it's 0.08, it means for every 100 times you try it, it was something. It's not 8%, 8 times. It's something like 6.2. It's really weird how the maths work out.
So
But
it's 6 right. So that
So
so
she's
he'll score 6 out of
Yeah,
100. Well, he won't score 6.
it wouldn't, would it? No. I'd love to see him try 100 times to see whether he could do it. That would be
He
interesting.
might put off once more, maybe, or maybe maximum twice, but it can't. It won't be that many times.
Can we just have a quiet word for? I think it was Elise as well, because the day before he had scored arguably the best goal of the season by running from the halfway line, cutting his side and bending in the top corner, just to then watch his goal of the season award disappear within 24 hours. I'd be absolutely fuming if I was Elise. I'd be fuming.
Well, he should have done a bicycle kick then.
That's it. Well, you might try that next week. Can you imagine? He's trying it all season.
He should have done that run and then flicked in the air and overhead kicks it, and then maybe.
John's been playing too much FIFA. So, what would you change for Newcastle, John? Would you leave it the same as Everton? Would you start Kobe Mainu? Would you? I'm going to Mr. Neville, Mr. K, Mr. Neville, Mr. Neville's turn.
Mr. Neville.
I could see, like you say, Rashford will probably come back in for Anthony. Whether if things aren't going well for him again, then he might get subbed half time or early in the second half. But as far as the back four go, I think it'll be just a toss up, really, I suppose, isn't it? Whether Wan-Bissaka starts or Dalot starts.
It's got to be Wan-Bissaka.
I can't quite make my mind up. I mean, I think I'd probably have Wan-Bissaka in against Newcastle.
Does Gordon play that side?
Yeah,
definitely Wan-Bissaka for me.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So so I think it'll be Wan-Bissaka and the other same three in back four.
So, do you think there's an argument here for? I'm getting frustrated with people being played in the wrong position. Rashford can't do it on the right-hand side. So should it not just be a straight shot for him or Garnacho on the left with someone more familiar on the right? Do you not think it's causing us problems? We've seen it for 6 months. Bruno playing out of position, Luke Shaw playing out of position. Is it not time to just get players back in the right positions?
No, 100%. No, I think John's right about Wan-Bissaka playing at the right back. I'd play Anthony at right wing. I wouldn't. Why are we playing Rashford? If Rashford's playing, play him on left wing. Drop Garnacho if you really want to do that, and bring Garnacho off the bench because you know you're going to need that pace in the late stage of the second half. Yeah. Mainu has to start for me on Saturday.
Yeah, NT's just put this, and I think we'll have a talk about Mainu now. You can start, Tone. He was fantastic when he against Everton. He was so calm.
Mainu had probably the best start for a central midfielder I think I've ever seen. Like for an 18-year-old in his first proper professional game at the top level, a start in the Premier League at Goodison Park, really hostile atmosphere, who played that game like it was effortless. Like it was composure that is ridiculous. Like, and I know people will say, "Oh, you're overhyping him." I'm really not overhyping him. In pre-season,
it's so hard not to though. It was such a good performance.
He had one good. Like the thing is, in pre-season, I was saying to everyone, he will start the Premier League. He will start the Premier League season. He's that good. And for me, I think Ten Hag was waiting for him to get fit again so he could implement his plan. That was from the get-go. You're going to be starting in Premier League games for me going forward because the players that I have at my disposal aren't good enough. And I think for me, the biggest question is whether or not Højlund or Martial on Saturday for me. I think everything else kind of writes itself in a lot of ways.
I'm glad you've said that because as impressed as Højlund has been in the Champions League, I'm not overly impressed with what he's done in the Premier League. I think he needs a bit of a break, if that makes sense. The expectation might be a little bit too high for him to be playing every single game.
No, absolutely. I think with Højlund, I think the fact of the matter is Højlund shouldn't be our starting striker this season. In a lot of Harry Kane, in an ideal world, had Ten Hag had his way, Harry Kane would be the starting striker, and obviously Højlund would have been the rotational striker to get him in to the team. But obviously now Højlund's been chucked in the deep end, and you can see the potential there, but obviously people need to realise its potential at the moment. It's like with Mainu and Garnacho.
Yeah.
There's a hell of a lot of potential there, but we can't expect the whole world from them because ultimately they're under 20 years old. What do you want them to do? And I think...
But you, Mr. Commode, what's your thoughts on Kobe Mainu? I mean, he was fantastic against Everton. Do you just chuck him in the deep end now and say, as long as you don't fuck up, you're starting?
Yeah, I think he's good enough to. I don't look at age as a factor. I know we shouldn't overplay how good players are when they're young and there is danger. It's the hottest prospects and all that. But, at the same time, your eyes don't lie. He's almost, it's mad to say 18 years old, but from what I see, he's almost the complete midfielder.
Yeah, I think this is about Højlund, isn't it?
It's almost, and he's only going to get better. So for me, stick him in the team by all means. I mean, he's better than anybody else. I mean, he shows the ball like another midfielder we have, and that I just think that he's a player that he looks composed. He doesn't look intimidated. He just keeps it simple. And that's all you need to do. Michael Carrick was the master of it. Just keep it simple, and that's why he does, and he'll get better and better. And I think I would put him in the midfield. And decisions whether it's McTominay, he probably will go McTominay because he has a goal threat. But and Amrabat, he's had a bit of an iffy start, hasn't he? But I will put Mainu in there. I think he's, it seems mad he's only played a couple of games, but I think he's probably been our best midfielder this season. He's only had 2 games.
What about you, Mr. Neville? Would you obviously, what did you make of his performance against Everton? And would you be tempted now to just say, obviously we've got to manage expectations with him. We've got to. I'm not starting him away at Anfield if we feel it's a bit too much for him. But if he's playing well, start him by all means. But what do you think? Do you think we should basically?
Yeah,
chuck him in the deep
absolutely.
end?
Yeah. I mean, he seemed to thrive off it on Sunday. And when I saw he was starting, I was a little bit taken aback by that. I thought, oh, he's throwing him in here a bit. I hope he's the coach with it all right. But no, he, like the lads have said, he looked calm. Didn't panic at all, didn't phase him at all. So, yeah, if he's like that, then why not give him a run of games? You'd say he can't do any much worse than a lot of other midfielders have been this season. So, yeah, definitely, I could definitely see him starting again at the weekend.
I think I'm going to whisper it, John, because I think you're spot on Mr. K. He reminds me of Michael Carrick so much. Just got the ball back, played it simple, played on the turn, just all the little tiny things that you need in midfield.
And I think he also, I was watching podcasts, he seems to be like a very much modern midfield player where he covers the spaces, but he accepts the ball. He cannot, accepts on the turn. It's not just receiving the ball. He's in the right position to receive it. He plays as though, a bit like Paul Scholes used to. He knows where the ball's going before he receives it. And this is something that it's not just him accepting the ball. He has the right body shape. And this is where I think we're lacking with a bit of McTominay. He doesn't ask for the ball, and it always seems to be his body position doesn't seem quite right to go forwards or whatever. Whereas Mainu, he looks very much like a modern player.
I don't think McTominay wants the ball though, does he?
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And when he does get the ball, he doesn't. His body shape isn't in a way, because I think body shape is just as important as receiving the ball. You got to know, the top class midfielders know where the ball is going once they receive it, and that's what you got to be best. And I think for 18-year-old, he just looks so level-headed, and I hope that he's with us for a good few years to come, because the only thing that can get the best of him based on what we've heard behind the scenes, he's always listened to advice, always kept his head on, and if he keeps it that way, he's going to have an unbelievable career. I'm sure of it. So, but yeah, he's just superb.
Yeah, I was really impressed with him. I don't think there's any issues going forward with playing him, to be honest. I would be tempted. If second name on the team sheet at the minute. The first, any guesses?
Bruno.
Absolutely not. Harry Maguire all day long.
Luke Shaw.
We need to talk, mate. We need to talk because you said something. So I wasn't very well. So I was watching this in my downtime and recovering, and you said something that nearly killed me. And you know what? I hope you're right. And you said Luke Shaw is the only world-class player at Man United.
Yeah, he is. No, still is.
Can't believe it, mate.
Why don't you believe me?
Honestly, your love for Shaw is like my love for Maguire. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I just think Luke Shaw's the best left back on the planet. I genuinely do. I don't think any left back on his day, when Luke Shaw gets back into fitness, by January, everyone will be talking
minus Martinez.
If we win the title after Luke Shaw comes back, I'm buying Tony whatever he wants because that is a hell of a shout.
I just think. I always look at it like this. It is my scale of a player, right? What United player gets in the Man City team right now? The only player gets in the Man City team right now is Luke Shaw.
I think Fernandes, maybe.
Who over though? Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva's on a great season.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a tough one, yeah.
I'm just saying. For me, they're like obviously I don't want to compare ourselves to City, but they are the best team in the world right now. If we're talking about teams on paper and stuff like that, that's the view. If you're trying to be honest, whether or not
we'll take 115 charges and we'll sign some players in
January. We'll be fine.
It remains to be seen.
I just pray we're in a position to challenge for the league. Because imagine you got Onana ball playing out, Martinez being fit, passing through the angles, and Maynard in the midfield who can pick it up, and Casemiro and Bruno. I think we can challenge.
Do you know why I'd love for us to challenge for the title? Can you imagine a challenge of City, Liverpool, United? That is a hell of a.
Yeah,
I think Arsenal, to be fair to them.
But I mean, it's mad, isn't it?
We need to pick up results at Newcastle and Liverpool, and that. I think we do need to go on a winning run. We have had a poor start to the season.
I'm pessimistic.
But there's no team that's had a superb season. That's the thing, So not even City or Liverpool have had a great season, but they are above us. And, that's another thing. That's our first draw this season, isn't it?
I think it is, yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, I noticed that. We'd either won games or lost games. So, I mean, that's a turn up for the books. Yeah, at least we're picking up some points from somewhere.
The first time we scored 3 goals in Turkey.
It's the first time we'd scored.
It's the first time we've ever scored against Galatasaray away. And dare I say it's a repeat of 93, because at Old Trafford we were 2-0 up and we drew 3-3.
I've just got I'm side eyeing the Bayern game, and Copenhagen are doing well. As I've said that, I think they've just conceded.
Wouldn't surprise if they win tonight. Wouldn't surprise me if they win.
I mean, if they win, are we out? Are we
we're out of Champions League? Yeah, I think.
But we could still get Europa.
If Copenhagen beat Galatasaray and we beat Bayern, then we can go into Europa League.
Is it Newcastle on Saturday next, isn't it?
Yeah.
4-1?
4-1?
No, joking.
I hope you don't mean Newcastle. We'll do predictions when Tony comes back. So, obviously, leading into the Newcastle game, are we feeling positive, John? Do we think we can go to Newcastle and get a result?
I've said this, that I think that we're not far off getting a big away win. I don't think. I think we might. It might be we lose. It is a tough place to go. It could be a game that we could quite easily lose. But I don't know. Just something in the league. I think we might go there and get a result.
I'm hoping they've had a tough time.
Even if we draw, it's not the worst result. I think you prefer to win, but
Well, we need to start picking
Yeah.
up points
Yeah,
away.
we do.
Whether we can't keep losing. What about you,
Yeah.
Nev? Do you think we've got enough to go and get a result?
We've not done well there. I think the last couple of seasons. I don't think we're capable of winning there on Saturday. To be honest, I think best we can hope for is a draw. I know I'm probably being a bit pessimistic because of the game tonight.
I'm right there with you.
I think a draw. I'll take a draw definitely.
Yeah, I think if we're honest, we're Tone's back, so we come to Tone. We'd all take a draw. What do you think's going to happen on Saturday, Tone? Do you think we've got enough to win at Newcastle?
I want us to win, but I don't think we've got a chance of winning. We never win at Newcastle.
When was the last time we won at Newcastle? Statman.
When
was the last time we won at Newcastle?
And it was we had that 4-1 on the Rowley, didn't we?
Oh, I'll take that.
That was the
COVID
season we finished second because we drew 1-1 with Rangnick and we lost 2-0 last season. So what was that? 2020? So
2021 when it was lockdown, I think.
Yeah.
1-4-1.
Was that under Solskjaer?
Yeah.
Solskjaer.
Oh, what a shock. Our away record under Solskjaer was excellent.
Donny van der Beek was on the pitch.
Who's that?
Yeah.
I think he's definitely gone. We'll do score predictions, and then we've been going for an hour and 15 minutes, so we'll call it quits there. I'll calm down a little bit now. We'll start with Tone. Score prediction for Saturday.
3-1 United, Man United.
But you just said we have no chance.
Right. Yeah, I'm never going to back it not to win. Yeah, I mean, as much as the realist in my head says the result, the optimist in me thinks we're going to win 3-1. So I'm going to go with the optimistic side of me because Højlund's going to score his first Premier League goal on Saturday. It has to happen. It has to happen.
I'm hoping that come Sunday, I can clip that and it's spot on. What about you, John? What are you going for?
Me, I'll go on.
I'll go for 1-1. One each.
1-1.
One each. Go on then, Mr. K.
2-1 United.
Tell you what, I feel like I'm under pressure. I feel like I've got to get it right this time. You know what I mean? Carry on the streak. I'm gonna go for 3-1 with Tone. I think we're gonna win. I'm gonna say Højlund, Maguire. You know what? Kobe Mining's going to score as well.
Anthony.
It's interesting you mentioned confidence after tonight will be shocked. But think of Newcastle last night.
Do you not think they should take a little bit of confidence from today, though? It sounds mental after the game, but they played well. It's just individual errors.
We are playing well. We are creating chances. We are a goal threat. You know, the problem is we just got a big defensively sound. We have been recently in the league, but I don't think I've said this, we're not far away from clicking.
Yeah.
We're not
right,
far away.
We'll call it quits there. It's been a good show. Thank you all for coming on. Obviously, I don't think we'll be doing a show on Saturday. It'll be on the Sunday because I'm not wrong. It's an 8 p.m. kickoff for us normal people. And John, what is it for you? 3 in the afternoon?
3 o'clock.
Yeah. So John's the lucky one.
Saturday, 3 p.m. The way I like it.
So there won't be a show on the Saturday, but there'll probably be a show on the Sunday. Hopefully, I'm not too hungover from the works due on the Saturday. So I'm actually going to miss the football, which I'm not very happy about. But I'll probably watch it on my phone. Let's be honest. So I appreciate all the comments. It's been a good show. Fingers crossed we get the result of the weekend. So peace out to everybody.